Allopathic Armageddon. I left the campsite around 1 a.m. Saturday morning on August 22nd. Since August, I've been to town twice. I only go when I'm out of water, 5 to 6 gallons at a time. I used to look forward to town. Today I was dreading it, but resigned myself as I consciously recognized the necessity. Once I'd established that, I found peace. That was about the time Miss Shiva's speech synchro-mystically started on one of the public radio stations. I had just completed the first draft of Expansion Explosion before loading up the van and was deciding how to write a more left-brain dominant accessible version of my stream of consciousness, when the veracity of Vandana's vocalizations vested me with vivacious verve to violate veils, voiding views versus vivification of Gaia via verisimilitudes of one-sided masculine dominance of nature, and vilification of the divine feminine in order to prevent unification of consciousness, quantum thinking, which would render humanity free. In her speech for International Women's Day, Dr. Shiva hits essentially all the main points of the true nature of objective reality that recently became undeniable to me through studying occult philosophy, observation, and experimentation. Her pitch here for global enlightenment is targeting intellectual feminists. The last line of her speech provides a helpful key to more fully understanding her references to patriarchy and suppression of women throughout the first hour of her speech. Some young man came to me. "Why are you against us?" "I'm not against you. I'm talking about the feminine principle in all of us." She was born in a Himalayan forest and developed an intuitive understanding of natural law at an early age that likely surpassed most modern adults' understanding. She got trained into what she calls mechanistic thought, or left-brain dominant thinking, through studying modern university science. Early on in her studies, she realized the potentially catastrophic results from relying on the many erroneous scientific assumptions as to the rules of the universe. She even recognizes that those possessing large amounts of monetary wealth manipulate culture, science, entertainment, news media, etc., to suppress expressions of the divine principle of loving care, to more effectively divide and rule the global population. She explains through multiple examples the suppression of the feminine by ignoring and or exterminating indigenous peoples' knowledge of oneness to make room for the ascension of unbalanced left-brain dominance in individuals, societies, and humanity. She understands the principles of the Gaia hypothesis very well, having possibly heard a version of James Lovelock's speech that inspired me as a teenager, referenced in Study 3, years before my birth. She knows that forests, rivers, and the ocean act as lungs, livers, and kidneys for our planet. She even seems to suggest that oil could be the Earth's blood. She groks that carbon trading is the equivalent of allopathic medicine, treating symptoms with little or no concern for the underlying problems. Perhaps most folks are aware by now that using pharmaceuticals to treat symptoms, not underlying conditions, leads to more pharmaceuticals to treat more symptoms originally caused by pharmaceuticals, which will likely lead to deleterious results to the treated organism. Perhaps everyone knows that a wound heals faster uncovered than concealed with a Band-Aid. Crops genetically designed to be Roundup ready, glyphosate, gave rise to Roundup resistant weeds. Crops modified to resist Bt toxin brought the advent of super pests who kind of like Bt toxin now. Soon, everyone will know that through our delusional use of symptom-treating salves on a global scale, instead of curing the actual problems, we're only making our planet drastically less hospitable for our species as we witness an allopathic Armageddon brought forth by our persistent, blatant ignorance of nature's laws. She never uses the oh so frightening, entirely due to centuries of status propaganda word anarchy, but she understands that all beings are inherently sovereign and has witnessed undeniable scientific proof of this fact. James Shapiro, geneticist, has proven even the smallest cells are sentient beings. As she explains, every cell, every microbe, every being is autonomous and autopoietic, self-organized and free, dynamic and evolving, but not isolated in its autonomy and its self-organization. It's interconnected and non-separable. Hell, she even recognizes that if we don't defend the freedom of all species and the freedom of all human beings, we could see that in 20 years a level of disposability built into the structures imposed by natural law that humanity will not be able to respond to. So this is the time to make oneness and interconnectedness as one humanity on one planet the political project of our time. She explains how food is used as a weapon to control humanity, an epiphany that likely occurred to Buddha under that fabled fig tree. She even points out that actual Hitlerian fascists are possibly still running agriculture, providing an example of nitrogen fertilizer originating from German bomb factories, how 2 liters of diesel fuel are required to produce 1 kilogram of fertilizer, and that its use robs the soil of zinc and other nutrients, likely causing our current epidemic of depression and other maladies. I especially appreciated how her suspicions of Bayer's true intentions following their acquisition of Monsanto began by analyzing the deeper symbolic meanings of an advertisement depicting a red liquid being poured from a beaker onto the Indian subcontinent. She dispels the illusion of corporations being in the business of creation, as their agenda is certainly extraction. She focuses on the example of Bill Gates, seeming to exude girlish glee from knowing that 2 other programmers actually wrote the finished product that founded his empire, probably due to all the improvements he brought and or is tried to bring to her home country. Elon Musk would be another obvious example of this principle manifesting in not only corporations' relationships with Gaia, but also individuals' relationships with their own species. She's been at this since 1987, pre-WTO, as she clarifies, when she found out that seeds were being patented as machines invented by corporations. This seems to be where a deeper understanding of the potency of words to be used as weapons emerged, as she discovered the word patent originated from the decree from God sent through the Pope to the Queen for Christopher Columbus to claim any uncivilized lands for the crown. Indigenous peoples were defined as not fully human for their offense of treating Gaia as a goddess deserving of gratitude and respect. Women became reproduction machines. Family became microscopically focused on the most immediate variety while ignoring the greater global family and not even considering the universal reality of our true familial interconnectedness. Development of land has become destruction. The idea of a monopoly of destructive power as intelligence is a negation of the creative power of the universe, the creative power of plants. She presents a truly enlightened perspective when she relays this aspect of ageless wisdom in her own words. The amazing generosity of the world is based on the recognition of the creativity throughout creation. She wanted to draw particular attention to the ways in which economic policies have been implemented while the people are divided. In her home country, she noticed how the Muslims and Hindus have been turned against each other, and there are so many other examples. She says that economy can be defined etymologically as the art of living, and that when you turn the art of living into the art of money making, then you have to practice violence against the earth and violence against others. Destroy their livelihoods, destroy their freedoms, take away their resources. She knows global oneness is the ultimate solution, which would eventually lead to Star Trek. Star Wars are not permitted for obvious reasons. Conditions where no money is used, but she encourages poor people to hold cash, to trade among themselves in defiance of digital currency, to foster trading for goods and services at a local level, which I believe makes sense on the surface as an intermediary step. But then again, she also mentioned how quickly MLKJ and maybe some others were quietened once they started focusing on economics. I don't know. The radiant Shiva does call forth the divine Kali within me to rise and rejoice in the imminent rejuvenation of Jubilee. May Vandana be an inspiration to us all.